Before I tell you about this movie, I will give you a special caution before you think of watching it, because it is really, really scary, and probably one of the scariest horror movies I have ever seen. Now, I also realized why the first movie was not as good, because it kind of built the character much more. Now, in this movie, Art the Clown comes full circle, and what he does in this movie is indescribably evil. Like when he wanders around with the heads and eyeballs of the people he slays like trophies. Although it did a little of that in the first movie, this movie makes Art the Clown really come alive in a way that is so extremely well done. The movie has also got to be the best sequel ever made also. You know, most follow-ups like Speed 2 and Escape Plan Hades is insanely bad when comparing to the first movie. Here the case is the completely opposite, and although the first Terrifier movie is not horrendously bad, it certainly does not defend its title. Terrifier 2 is everything I hoped to watch from Terrifier 1. The casting is excellent. There is not only just a scary and creepy mood, but a lot of the scenes are so extreme and actually scare you in the most extreme way. So when watching this movie, prepare to be terrified, in a way you have never been before. This one is probably the best horror movie I've seen since Nightmare on Elm Street #3, because much like the first movies in this movie series, the character does not come alive as much in the first movie. When watching both Terrifier 1 and 2, you realize how much more you see Art on set doing menacing things than you actually do in the first movie, which is more an introduction phase. What I also think that this movie does so well are the combination of thrill elements and horror. The movie feels very intense, and the pacing is one that kinda drags you in much more. That opening scene, which follows up where the first movie ended, when you have this guy trying to make a 911 call, and he is interrupted in a gruesome fashion, where he just gets slayed to his death. The ending scene is also very good, when Sienna, after so much struggle, comes alive, as this character that her father had drawn for her. She is trapped in a water tank. But when she gets the force from her father's blade, she suddenly becomes very strong and slays Art in the same fashion that he has slayed her mother and her friend. In my last review about Terrifier 1, I said that Art didn't scare me because he didn't speak. Probably that was just down to the lack of scary scenes, because I am absolutely much more terrified after watching this movie, and I can absolutely understand why it has been banned in my country. Because some of what you see in this one are so surreal and shocking that it is hard to put words into it. That girl that has survived his attack in the first movie just adds to this terrifying mood you feel when watching through this movie, because this female clown character is also very scary, and by the looks of it will be the next killer clown if they make another Terrifier movie. I realize that this movie might not be for everyone, and probably most directors will not make a horror movie as scary as this one, because most horror movies are like the recent one I saw, Apostle, where the pacing is extremely slow and the characters are just not that good. If you also compare the first Terrifier movie and the second one, Sienna is a way more interesting character than, let's say, Donna and a friend, which are just two primitive drunk girls in a horror movie. Sure, Brooke and Sienna might also be drunk and even on Molly, but they fit their roles much better and make the movie feel very good. I personally feel that more horror movies should be made like this, because this is just artwork, and the movie actually scares you in the most terrifying way. Probably, for me, this is an 8.25 out of 10, and again, if you decide to give it a chance, proceed with caution and prepare to be terrified.